Diddy really screwed up, and I'm not referring to his criminal trial, which has him sitting in prison right now, but it has to do with something that happened right before he got arrested. If you've seen the Netflix documentary about Diddy, Diddy The Reckoning, which 50 Cent produced, there's some footage there that had never been seen before. This is a photographer that Diddy hired to follow him around and document his life. That footage ended up going to 50 Cent.
And maybe that's what Snoop went through. I don't know. But let the people know, because it was too early back then. You know, Pac just had died.
So this one night, 50 called me up, and you know they got him on the phone. Me and him was just talking. We was talking about old time shit. You know, sit down with Black Hands, sit down with with Puff Kids, the whole Puff situation, and this documentary that he's going to be doing.
Almost right away, a fresh wave of online videos and commentary began redirecting attention, this time towards Snoop Dogg. New headlines started making the rounds, suggesting he was panicking, going into hiding, or even being shielded because of footage allegedly left out of the documentary. Some commentators pushed further, questioning what Gene Deal actually implied, what 50 Cent's film revealed, or chose not to, and how Snoop Dogg has reacted amid all the noise. Most importantly, we'll break down what's been verified and what remains pure speculation.
Check out this audio from Suge Knight. It's from his podcast with Dave Mays, and he's speaking on, Tupac and Snoop being cool, and how, after Tupac got killed, Snoop started hanging out with Diddy. And, he also speaks on how, Snoop, he did the Steve Harvey show with Diddy after Tupac got killed. Check this out.
Okay. It's downloading right now.
Then you look at the scenario how everybody used Pac to make their stuff famous or make their projects better. You got people who use their songs for Pac and tell them how much they love Pac, but they do songs for Puffy. You got Steve Harvey, old bit that, this motherfucker telling, well, Pac, according to everybody else, he brings Snoop and Puffy on there and say, these are dudes who's running this in the East Coast, West Coast.
What's up, Snoop?
Huh? Hey, whoa. Wait a minute, fellas here. Hold up. I know all about this East Coast, West Coast rivalry thing here, but we in Chicago now. This rivalry stuff, we gotta stop it, man. We stop that, we stop a lot of this violence.
Yo, Steve, check this, man. All that East Coast, West Coast stuff is a bunch of media hype. It's been my dog from day one, you know what I'm saying? It's all good between me and him. That's my people.
Well, that's what we came in for. We came in and light it up and ride it up. We never knew shit hand. Now, Pac, if you love Pac so much, how you with the mother that everybody say got something to do with the first get down that happened to Pac in New York, then the second one.
What you think about Suge comments? And I never asked you this before, but did you have an issue with Snoop hanging out with Diddy after Tupac got killed?
I always felt that was wrong. I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm talking about from that. Like now, okay, you know what I mean? I'm 46, Snoop probably early 50s. If he figured out now, he might go by the opinion like, okay, Puffy had nothing to do with Pac. We grown now. If he want to be his friend, no problem. But back then, that was just awkward. You know what I mean? And the reason why it was awkward to me that I never even like it because you knew how Pac felt about this individual. You know what I mean? Even if you don't agree with him, you probably could have said, you know what, I probably ain't gonna come out, publicly with this because until things clear up. So I really know I could be certain that, they didn't have nothing to do with Pac. But it's like, it was no, okay, it is what it is. So that I never really respected that back then.
So you had an issue with it. You didn't like it?
Never really liked it. It just was a strange look because you was Pac boy. You know what I mean? Puffy, it's clear they had some issues with Pac. And Pac died and all of a sudden you chilling with Puffy. Back then, it just, okay, now you can say what you want. You go all grandfathers, I guess. You know what I mean? That's different now. But back then, I think it was weird. It was tasteless. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like you really had that much love for Pac. You could have just, you know what I mean? Unless he pressured them or like questioned Puffy, like, yo, what's up with this? What's up with that? Then you could say, you know what I mean? No problem.
Snoop Dogg's name never appeared in court documents, indictments, or the federal charges tied to Diddy's imprisonment. Yet it quickly began trending online alongside serious allegations. Much of this attention stems from his long-standing presence in the industry and his connections with figures like Diddy and Suge Knight during hip-hop's most turbulent era. After the documentary's release, Gene Deal, a former bodyguard associated with Diddy, became a prominent voice, hinting in interviews that some individuals might feel uneasy because not everything made it into the final cut. That single remark fueled speculation across rumor-driven channels, with some claiming 50 Cent withheld information, while others suggested Snoop was simply an easy target due to his fame and visibility. As the discussion intensified, old footage resurfaced, including prison interviews with Suge Knight, rapidly spreading across social media.
I believe somebody mentioned that they seen a video with me and the dude Prodigy or one of the dudes from our Deep, as if I was with. They don't know the backdrop of that. I went to his hotel room ready to fight. Like, bro, I'll fight everybody in that room one-on-one. Even if I lose, it doesn't matter. The Outlaws was with me. My homie Tiny, the Mexican homie, was with me. I didn't go there and say, let me get in a video with these guys. I went there knocking on their door, doom, doom, doom. Tell them dudes to come out. What's up with y'all? What's up with y'all and Pop? You got a problem with Pop? Because we could just fight like man to man, face to face, and then shake hands. That was my approach with them. But when they told me they didn't have no problem, I don't mind being with you. You know what I mean? I don't mind shaking your hand because they told me they had love for Pop. So that's different. You know what I mean? If he come out and say, well, I already, I questioned Puffy about it. I believe that he didn't, he loved Pop. That's my opinion. I can move the way I want to move. So when people try to, I noticed somebody, I think on your page do that. Well, Napoleon was in the video with Mobb Deep. They don't know how I got in that video with Mobb Deep. You know what I mean? I pulled up on him but I'm the type of person, I never been a bully type of person. You know what I mean? If I talk to a person like a man and they tell me face to face, look, I got love for Pop, I'm comfortable to know if I can look in their eyes and if I believe what they said, I have the right to say, okay, no problem. I believe you. You know what I mean? And maybe that's what Snoop went through. I don't know. But let the people know because it was too early back then. Pop just had died. You know what I mean? Like he had the right to say, the reason why I'm rolling with Puffy, I questioned him about my homie. He gave me this answer. So then he did what he had to do, but it just, you know what I mean? I never really agree with that, to be honest. The same way I couldn't be on the stage with him. When they wanted to do that tribute, I just couldn't do it. Like, I really felt in my heart, like, man, I can't believe this.
This is where the real risk begins. When proximity is mistaken for proof, narratives drift away from facts and into pure suspicion. In moments like these, the loudest voices are rarely the most reliable. Asterisk Sean Combs. The Reckoning asterisk was never framed as a sweeping expose of the entire industry. It stayed focused on Diddy. The documentary traced his rise through Bad Boy Records, his influence, and the systems that enabled him over the years, while highlighting victim accounts and broader patterns of alleged control and exploitation. It did not name Snoop Dogg in connection with any crimes or present footage of him engaging in wrongdoing. Claims that 50 Cent deliberately protected Snoop remain unverified speculation. Curtis Jackson has consistently said in interviews that only material that could be confirmed and legally supported by his team was included.
Diddy was doing a documentary thinking he was going to come out triumphant.
Yeah, I didn't know that's how this started, is he started filming himself and getting this footage because he thought he was going to beat everything. Okay,
Diddy
that makes sense. Okay.
Has a relationship
Netflix. I knew that.
With
Ted Sarandis. I saw that. Yes. Okay.
And he's filming it there. But of course, when you get, obviously it wasn't a clean sweep on the prosecutor's side, but you're still going to prison.
Yeah.
He basically kind of scraps it. It's not also Netflix is saying, because they commissioned it, right? Netflix is saying, all right, cool, just turn over what you got. And what we'll do, we'll make it what it is because we're just following reality. Diddy's like, well, hold on now. If I lost the case, I'm down to still do it with you, but I got to be able to control it. Now, Diddy was probably going to kind of shape this doc to make it look like, hey, this was malicious prosecution. They kind of went really hard at me. Mm-hmm. I'm not a perfect guy, but I am a good guy.
Yeah.
And Diddy was like, I need to be able to craft it. And Netflix was like, no, you're not. And he's like,
well, my question is, did he sign the footage over to Netflix so they own it? Mm-mm. Like, how were they able to do this without his?
No, but he didn't pay for it. So essentially, they're calling it a payment error. So essentially, The deal falls apart, or he's like, "Yeah, we're not going to do
So
this."
awkward.
And the
Oh my
people who
gosh.
did the work that have all this footage, they're like, "So wait, you told us to film because this is going to be on Netflix. Now you're saying Netflix doesn't exist, and we're not getting paid because Diddy was going to pay with Netflix money." And Netflix realized this, and they went to the filmers and said, "Hey, give us the footage."
If anything, the documentary showed a clear level of restraint. In a media landscape that often thrives on shock value, it avoided naming individuals unless their involvement was backed by records or testimony strong enough to hold up under scrutiny. That's why claims about hidden footage remain just that, claims. No verified clips have surfaced, no court filings mention Snoop, and no investigators have identified him as a suspect or target. Ironically, after the documentary's release, Snoop publicly supported 50 Cent, even sharing posts that aligned himself with Curtis. That response directly undercuts the narrative that he was fearful of potential exposure, because fear rarely presents itself as open, public support.
We're going to look at this through the prism of a modern-day rhetorical genius. A modern-day rhetorical genius. We're talking about the one, the great, the 50 Cent. All right. This guy's skill at rhetoric is absolutely next level. And this totally ties in with, how he famously is a big fan of Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Now, rhetoric with a capital R, I can just give you the definition of that. That's basically public speech, particularly public speech that is to persuade. Any persuasive public speech is rhetoric, right? Now, we kind of break that down into two subcategories of rhetoric with a lowercase r and dialectic. Rhetoric is essentially everything else, and really what moves the needle with like 97% of people and 100% of groups, okay, is in fact rhetoric with the lowercase r. So again, stuff like this, 50 Cent is an absolute master of. Basically, he dropped this doc, this 50, this Sean Puffy Combs doc, and it's just kind of set the internet on fire. It's beating out Stranger Things. Like, it's a wild ride to watch, right? And one of the things that he does is he breaks down Diddy's character on Diddy's own terms.
One of the most widely repeated claims stems from testimony by Courtney Burgess, who said he possessed flash drives allegedly connected to Kim Porter. He claimed these drives contained images and videos of celebrities in compromising situations. But from there, online creators began filling in gaps with speculation, adding names like Snoop Dogg without verified proof. Crucially, Kim Porter's children have publicly rejected the authenticity of any supposed memoirs or materials attributed to her, and federal authorities have not confirmed what, if anything, is on those drives. In any formal legal setting, individuals appearing in unverified content would be considered potential victims, not automatic perpetrators. No credible documents mention Snoop Dogg, and no confirmed footage has been released. This is how misinformation spreads. A suggestion becomes a rumor, the rumor turns into a headline, and eventually, the headline starts to feel like fact. In reality, simply possessing unverified material does not prove criminal activity. Courts rely on context, corroboration, and credibility, standards that online commentary often ignores. That gap is where reputations can suffer without due process. So when claims circulate that Snoop is panicking over alleged flash drives, they skip every essential step of verification. There's no evidence he has been questioned, no indication of an investigation, and no legal action tied to his name.
Because he wanted them to, both Suge and Pac,
In the car?
they only Pac, and they don't Suge. So allegedly, they got paid $500,000. The $500,000 was paid to the guy on the right, all the way to the right. You see the guy on the right, Corey? He's the one allegedly that got the $500,000. And that money never went to Keefe or anybody else. The guy on the left is the one that stole the chain, the chain, which was a Death Row Records chain. That's a way of saying I got your rapper's chain. Because if you were one of the guys, Death Row. So long story short, this whole thing isn't recording that he said this. So what does Diddy do? Rob, can you pull up this song? It's a song called Black Rob. featuring Mark Curry and Mario Winans. If you can just type in lyrics, okay? So he gets $1 million. Can you go to the lyrics? And Diddy's in the lyrics when he gets started. Go a little bit lower. Boom. Can you type in the word in there, Rob? Nice guy. Type Control F, nice guy. Okay, right there. Look at it. It's 1999. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Been nice too long. I'm just going to start making y'all disappear. Man, first I'm going to take your records off the radio. Then I'm going to erase your social security number. Take your birth certificate out flies. I'm going to do your whole effing family. Ain't nothing but mercy. And then, by the way, in the lyrics, he says, I'll drop $1 million on your head to erase you. Can you type in, I'll drop $1 million, just put Control F. Just go to Google and type this out. I'll drop $1 million on your head. I'll drop $1 million on your head and just put Diddy next to it. Right there. See, it says Black Rob. What song came up?
Right.
I'll drop $1 million on your head. Erase you and your whole family, biatch.
Wow.
He's saying it in the song on what he did to get rid of Tupac.
What an idiot.
Suge Knight has repeatedly made accusations against Snoop Dogg over the years, ranging from claims of betrayal to alleged involvement in the darker circumstances surrounding Tupac Shakur's death. These statements often resurface whenever the hip-hop industry faces renewed scrutiny, but they are neither new nor substantiated. Much of what Knight has said comes from prison interviews that draw attention due to their controversial tone. Snoop Dogg has consistently denied these allegations, calling them baseless and rooted in personal disputes and long-standing rivalries. Most importantly, law enforcement investigations into Tupac Shakur's murder have never resulted in any charges against Snoop Dogg.
For being out there and allowing Nisha to come out there to make money, however she was doing it, to feed her family. He vowed down that it's like, yo, I ain't never f***ing with her again, and I ain't never f***ing with him again. Puff and Suge had a conversation behind the House of Blues about was we all right, and Tupac was alive. Tupac wasn't dead. So if it was a war, Suge ain't having no conversation with Puff about we good. I know he could be doing the Hoboken hustle, trying to fool him, brother. But had he killed my man or something like that, I wouldn't have no conversation with Puff. I'd been like, yo, you know what y'all niggas done? You know what happened? And it wasn't no conversation like that, brother. It wasn't no conversation whereas that, Suge made Puff feel like I'm going to get you a payback for what happened to Jake. This was more so that Puff, for whatever reason, Suge, for whatever reason he was mad at Puff, and Puff, for whatever reason he was mad at Suge, it was between them two. It wasn't no whole East Coast wanted the West Coast dead, and the West Coast wanted East Coast to dead, because they still was going out, still chilling, still at places with each other. It was Bad Boy, and it was Death Row. It wasn't no East Coast and no West Coast. West Coast dudes were still coming out on the East Coast getting love. East Coast niggas was still going out on the West Coast getting love. It was Bad Boy versus Death Row. And that's what it was, bro. And it was because of the two CEOs. But Suge tried to straighten it out. I got to get at the Suge. The Death Row East Coast, the Death Row East was going to bring in Eric B. It was going to bring in Big D. And those brothers was from the East Coast. So now, they was looking for a representative to come to the meeting from Bad Boy so they could straighten out the between Pac and Big and Death Row and Bad Boy. And Puff is the one who refused. Puff is the one to refuse to send a representative or either come himself. And got mad at Zip and them because they were in the Mirage on 57th Street partying with Suge Knight. Got mad at them. And Zip hung up the phone on him behind that.
So what you mean by
Online narratives often blur the line between repetition and proof. The more a claim is repeated, the more credible it can start to feel, even when no real evidence exists to support it. This psychological effect is powerful, and many content creators lean into it. What often gets overlooked is the context behind these statements. The relationship between Suge Knight and Snoop Dogg fractured decades ago, shaped by business disputes, personal tensions, and highly publicized feuds. Allegations made within that kind of history should be treated with caution, not accepted at face value. Repeating old claims doesn't strengthen them, it simply amplifies the noise.
So, I don't know where you get all the extras from when they had a conversation at the hospital and all that. That's absolutely not true. Say less, if you know what I mean. But instead of just saying less, since I've been in here, Snoop and other people been having people trying to bail the guy out, Keefy D, because he talking too much. Raging them trying to do stuff for Puffy because they say he talking too much. They even had somebody talk to me and say, hey, you can help him get free. I said, look, I don't have nothing to do with none of that, and I'm not leaving prison to go to nobody county jail. To the point they were saying, well, you can't leave and sacrifice a little bit in the county jail to stop that black man from getting life? Hell no. I ain't wishing bad on him at all, because I don't want to see nobody go to prison. And like I told you last time, as I find out more details about certain things, I probably would go to the Vegas County Jail if me and Keefy D with Sellies. We'd have a good conversation after I give him, 6 upside his head, another 6 in his body, and another 2. But yeah, that's different than happened with Snoop didn't go to the hospital. That's a lie.
One of the most common claims was that Snoop Dogg suddenly went silent after the documentary's release, but that idea doesn't hold up under even basic scrutiny. In reality, he continued posting and engaging publicly, sharing updates on music, business ventures, and even showing support for 50 Cent. The narrative of him disappearing largely stems from selective interpretation, where only certain moments are highlighted while everything else is ignored. He didn't release panic statements, delete his accounts, or step away from the spotlight. Instead, he stayed active and focused on his ongoing projects, including his involvement with Death Row Records. In truth, there was no silence, just a choice not to engage with unverified rumors that didn't deserve attention.
Just got out the gym, doing my workout box. Shit, you right. History would repeat itself. Cause nigga, you wasn't the only nigga in the room, nigga. You wasn't by yourself. It was other people in the room too. I'm not gonna say no names, cause like you said, we don't talk. So why you on here talking? Let that go, man. And as far as Snoop and Corrupt writing my album, you ask them niggas that. Them niggas ain't wrote my album. Corrupt helped me with Do You See? Snoop helped me with This DJ. Other than that, everything else I wrote. So that's where you wrong at again. And as far as the tough guy, do you recall when we was at the World Club and it said Death Row and NWA? Who fired on that? Me. When you was at the Comedy Store, fighting that little buff ass at the Comedy Store, who saved your motherfucking ass? Me and C style. So what have I done to you? For you to launch out at me? Look, don't get mad at me, man. I ain't never done nothing to you. I wasn't signed to you. So
the key difference between Snoop Dogg and Diddy right now isn't popularity, it's evidence. Diddy's conviction followed a lengthy process involving investigations, witness testimony, and formal legal findings. In contrast, the situation surrounding Snoop is driven entirely by association and speculation. As of the latest confirmed information, there are no charges, no indictments, and no active cases tied to his name. That distinction matters. In a time when high-profile figures are under intense scrutiny, the absence of legal action doesn't suggest protection. It points to a lack of evidence. While the industry may be facing significant upheaval, not everyone connected to it is implicated. Blurring the line between rumor and reality ultimately undermines the credibility of real accountability when it truly matters.
In a documentary, there's a couple things I'll share with you guys on what I took away from it. But Rob, maybe share the clip on how he got access to some of the footage of the documentary. Is this the one, Rob?
Yep.
Go for it.
How did you get that footage of Diddy?
I figure most journalists would not disclose their sources.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team, Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day. Perhaps.
Combs' team firing back in a statement to NBC News, saying the Netflix so-called documentary is a shameful hit piece and that they relied on stolen footage that was never authorized for release. His team sending a cease and desist to Netflix.
Yeah, so that doesn't mean it's not true.
Of course.
But they relied on stolen footage, okay, is what they relied on. And then they ask about the history of 50 and him, issue that they've had. What's the one you just pulled up, Rob?
This is where they talk about the feud, and then I also have 50 Cent talking about Diddy's reaction to the documentary.
Yeah, that's so funny. That is so funny. But watch this one here. Go ahead, Rob.
How do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform?
What they consider a pre-existing beef, right, for 20 years, right, is me being uncomfortable with him suggesting that he takes me shopping, or I looked at it like it was like a tester, like maybe you'll come play with me type of thing, right? And it's not personal.
I think it's important to also let people know that the show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean. We weren't trying to just get the highlights, the salacious details, that the real goal was to storytell. And not everyone needed to have an allegation to be a part of this project.
Yeah, I mean, so that's that part, right? The fact that the feud with the two of them, hey, let me take you shopping. Like, you say that to a girl, and 50's like, what are you talking about? Take me shopping. How do you have a flipping mind? You want to take me shopping? And then last but not least, Rob, the other clip you have of 50 is talking about how he thinks Diddy's going to like this documentary. Go ahead, Rob.
If Sean Combs watches this, what do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's going to say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time.
You can't even hold it.
Because you'll see people saying that. I mean, he may feel a different way about pieces and bits of it, but he knows the truth. I think he'll see the truth.
Right now, Snoop Dogg finds himself caught in one of the internet's most familiar patterns, turning uncertainty into accusation, old associations into supposed evidence, and speculation into fear. But when you strip away the headlines and reaction videos, the facts remain simple. There is no verified footage, no charges, and no disappearance. The real story isn't about Snoop panicking. It's about how quickly narratives form when a major scandal breaks, and how anyone loosely connected can become a target by association. As the Diddy fallout continues and more details emerge, the bigger question isn't who the internet will speculate about next, but whether facts will carry more weight than rumors, or whether assumptions will keep shaping public perception before evidence is even established.